Let's talk soccer, folks. We get Argentina and Switzerland in the quarterfinals after both countries advanced playing in a drama-filled round of 16 situation. Title holders with an epic comeback against Egypt, while the Swiss outlasted Colombia in a defensive battle and penalties. Switzerland's a team trying to make its first ever semifinal. They will have earned it if they get that far. Meanwhile, since losing their opener to Saudi Arabia and Qatar back in 2022, the reigning title holders have been unbeaten in their last 11 World Cup games, scoring at least 2 goals in each match. All right, let's bring in the one, the only Jimmy Conrad, 2006 World Cup with the United States, and of course, friend of the program. Jimmy, great to be with you as always. Can we still kind of pinpoint this Argentina comeback here in terms of being down 2-0 and coming back winning thrilling 3-2?
Are we talking about Argentina, Tommy? Is that what we're going with this one? Hey,
yeah,
listen,
you and Ian Joy, you defenders, man.
Okay, so we'll start with Cabo Verde because they got past them 3-2 as well. I thought they probably underestimated this small country and maybe didn't take them as serious. Messi scored a great goal in that first one, and then they just kind of took their foot off the pedal. Thankfully for them, they have the quality to hit the switch and do what they needed to do, but that one was a lot closer than they wanted. You think they would have learned from that. So they play Egypt in the next round, and they go down 2-0. Now, at 1-0, there was some controversy because there was a goal that Egypt scored, a very good goal on a counterattack, and it got called back because of a foul that had happened maybe 7 passes earlier on Enzo Fernandez, and that ultimately was enough to set off the Egyptian team and got them highly emotional, which I understand. I get where they're coming from. That goal gets called back, and then they end up. So here's my thing. So Egypt has every right to be upset about that. There's no real framework in terms of if a foul happens in the build-up to a goal by an opposing team, how much time has to pass or how many passes have to be made until that action happens. So there's no, maybe they'll set that, maybe they'll learn from this and figure that out, but they end up calling that one back. Egypt starts to get highly emotional. That was at 1-0. They made it 2-0. They ended up scoring. So my concern with Egypt, yes, I understand where they're frustrated, but they had it at 2-0 with 11 minutes left. And they let Argentina score 3 goals in those next 11 minutes. So yes, as much as I understand their frustration, they still have to go out there and make plays and just get the job done, and they didn't do that. And I feel like this is a little bit of a bait and switch in terms of, hey, look at this shiny thing over here, and not really talking about their deficiencies about making plays with 11 minutes left. And so again, I respect where they're coming from, but they still need to be real about what they did in their capitulation. So Argentina finds another way to survive, one of the greatest comebacks in World Cup history. And you think maybe this time around against Switzerland, Tommy, they won't allow that to happen. But we just don't know with this Argentina team. You know what I mean?
No, we certainly don't. But we do know Messi magic, Jimmy, right? No matter when you get it, if it's early or late, he delivers, especially at age 39, leading the Golden Boot race with 8 goals, becoming the first player with 8 through 5 matches since Gerd Muller in 1970. Now, he did miss the penalty, which opens up another conversation. But how do you overall assess Argentina's number 10?
Well, he's Benjamin Button. We say he's 39, but the guy looks like he's getting younger, right? And making big plays. Not only did he miss a penalty in this game, he missed one earlier in the tournament. He's the first player in World Cup history to miss 2 penalties, but they won both of those games. So maybe that's a good luck. I don't know. But I would say with Messi, he's so good at knowing when it's time to step up. He's so good at when he gets the ball, he's got so many good ideas about how to be decisive in that final third, and his quality's on full display. I think what's interesting is how many goals he's going to end up scoring in this one. If he had scored both of those penalties, he'd be at 10 right now. Now, the all-time record is Just Fontaine, who scored 13 in 6 games for France back in 1954. I don't know if he's going to catch that, but I do think he'll catch Gerd Muller. I could see him getting 10, at least getting double digits, and potentially getting even a little bit more than that, which would be pretty remarkable in the modern era, all things considered. Now, with the expanded tournament, we could have a big argument about playing against teams that maybe don't have the same quality if the tournament was a little bit smaller like it used to be. And it used to be for Gerd Muller back in the day when you basically start the tournament and you're playing a big dog right off the bat and you just play big dogs the rest of the way. But yeah, I mean, the guy's a special player. He's an alien, and he continues to get better with age, even though I don't think he ages. And it's a real treat to be able to watch him play because I don't know how many more moments we're going to have.
So that is the task that Switzerland has in front of them. And we've seen, as you've laid out, Argentina has been vulnerable in this tournament, especially in the knockout rounds. What would be the keys for the Swiss to actually get the job done?
Yeah, I got 3 keys. The first one's going to be taking notes from what Cabo Verde and Egypt did really well against Argentina. They're very aggressive, Argentina, on their counter-pressing. They don't really want to sit in and have to defend and move as a group. They'll do it, but it feels more reluctant. And I thought that Cabo Verde and Egypt in particular did a nice job of playing quick, playing through that pressure, and making and forcing Argentina to just take rash decisions and try to tackle and end plays soon. And if that happens, that just lends itself to opening up space. There were plenty of times in the Egypt game in particular, and even against Cabo Verde, where all of a sudden Egypt would break the press, and now it's a 3v3 or a 4v3 in favor of Egypt. If Switzerland can find themselves in those situations, I think they have the quality to really punish this Argentina team. So that would be one, right? Taking notes of what works. Argentina might make some adjustments, but they might just be like, whatever, we're Argentina, we can do whatever we want. We're the defending champions. And the second thing is, Switzerland's got to score first. It would take, I know that we've seen Argentina come back in both of these games and figure out ways to have success even when things were going well. But what's interesting about Switzerland, in World Cup qualifying for them, they never trailed once in 10 games. Okay, they qualified for the World Cup. They've now played 5 games, and they haven't trailed once in all 5 of these games. So if they can score first, then I think it puts them in a good position to like know what it feels like to manage game situations. I think they're really smart in how they move. They don't necessarily overextend themselves to put themselves at risk, right, and getting vulnerable, similar to what Argentina does. So almost the opposite of that. So they're a little bit more calculated, I would say, in how they try to attack and how they try to hurt you. And then 3, listen, this is almost impossible, but you got to do what you can do. You want to suffocate service to Messi. He's going to get the ball, but what can you do to minimize his impact on the game? And the best way to do that, if you have a star player, is just don't allow him to get the ball, which means you got to get around everybody else. And if Messi does get the ball, how soon can you get somebody on him? Because if he picks up his head and turns and start running at you, it's too late, right? He's going to kill you at that point. So can you get to him early? If you're the first defender, can you get a body on him to make him take a big touch? That second defender makes it more predictable for everybody behind them. And of course, you can make him just play backwards or sideways. Then that's a win in itself too. So if you can do those 3 things, and stay steady, right? And don't lose your cool like Egypt did, where you give up 3 goals in 11 minutes. I think Switzerland has a chance to potentially pull off an upset because they have the quality to hurt this Argentina team.
So if we go to players to watch, let's start with, and speaking of the Swiss here, you mentioned one of the keys is to score first. How does Granit Xhaka fit into that formula?
Yeah, let's talk about the captain. He's had a tremendous last 4 or 5 years. He played for Arsenal for a while, then went to Bayer Leverkusen in Germany and helped Xabi Alonso, who was the manager at that time, have an undefeated season in the Bundesliga. The first time they've won it ever in their history. Like 119 years, he was the captain then, right? He's got good leadership qualities. He knows how to make everybody around him better, and I think that can't be said enough. So he leaves Bayer Leverkusen, goes to Sunderland. Sunderland just got promoted to the Premier League this previous season, and he got them to finish high enough to qualify for Europe. That is unheard of for a team that just got promoted. And guess who's the captain and the leader? It's Granit Xhaka. And now Switzerland find themselves in a quarterfinal for the first time since 1954 when they hosted the tournament. So there's something special about him and what he does to bring calmness to the team, help solve problems out in the middle of the field, and just, like I mentioned, elevate everybody around him. So he's going to be very pivotal. Yeah, and then with Argentina, I'll just pivot over here. I think Enzo Fernandez. Leo Messi's the easy one, but Enzo Fernandez ended up making a couple key plays. Even if we look back in 2022 for the World Cup when Argentina won it, there were other players outside of Messi that had to score in big moments, whether it's Julian Alvarez or Angel Di Maria, who's not playing with the team anymore. But so now I think Enzo Fernandez had the big header that won it against Egypt 3-2. Can he step up and make plays that makes the game easier for Leo Messi, so not everything's on his back? Can you have Julian Alvarez again step up? Is it Lautaro Martinez? There's all these other guys that have to step up so that Messi doesn't have to carry the team every single game. But Enzo should be a person who's very pivotal and will be in the same area of the field as Granit Xhaka, so it should be a good battle.
Jimmy, we have arrived at prediction time out in Kansas City for this game. So you've got your branded parlay partay, but I've also heard you got a bonus play too? Yeah, so I'll go parlay partay. Listen, when everything nets out, I think Argentina has the quality. They've learned their lesson now twice. Third time the charm, hopefully. Well, for Switzerland, yeah, they want that to happen. But ultimately, because of the quality that Argentina has, because they have the X factor in Messi, because they just won this tournament, and they know what it looks like and feels like to be at this position on the tournament, I got Argentina to win in over 1.5 total goals. I could see a 2-1, 3-1 here. Plus 120, I think, is really good value for that. There could be some people in the bookies out there thinking it might go past 90 minutes, right? So take that into consideration. But I think Argentina will try to finish this game after 90. And then a fun one for me is Switzerland to get the first corner of the game at plus 140.
if you looked at the Egypt game and the Cabo Verde game, Argentina struggled when you went after them. High press, lots of energy, ready to battle. And I think that could lead to Switzerland getting that first corner at plus 140. So a bit of a fun one there. And obviously it's a quick one. I mean, sometimes corners take a while to happen in the game, but I can see Switzerland trying to let Argentina know right away. They're not just going to sit back and absorb and let Messi and Argentina do whatever they want. So I can see Switzerland going for it, getting that first corner. And I think that'll be a really fun one to play.
Jimmy, we got to wrap things up, but I just need a yes or no from you, okay? Next penalty for Argentina. Does Lionel Messi take the kick?
He takes it, yes.
Okay, yes from Jimmy Conrad. Jimmy, great stuff as always. Thanks for hopping on, giving us the goods on HQ
Thanks,
Spotlight. Catch him on the Golazo Network. He was on CBS News Mornings after we got eliminated by Belgium, but we don't want to talk about that. Check out his podcast, Call It What You Want, with co-host Charlie Davies and Tony Neal.